Tom Meyer, Superintendent of Bellevue Community School District in Bellevue, Iowa, coming to you with this week's Believe in the Blue update. I'm going to give you some upcoming events today and then also go over some of our comment highlights from the board meeting that was on Monday evening. So, upcoming events here, we have a lot of things going on. Thursday, we have bowling. The bowling team has been in action this week. They were in action Monday and Tuesday both at Comanche and then at Maquoketa. But they're in action again tomorrow night, Thursday at 4 o'clock, and that's a home meet against Cascade. And then we also have middle school girls basketball at Comanche tomorrow night. And then we have middle school JV and varsity wrestling at West Branch tomorrow night. On Friday, we have a JV and varsity basketball versus Northeast, and that is at home, and those games begin at 6:30. So I hope to see you there. It's a great Friday night to come out to a basketball game and see our kids in action against the Rebels from Northeast. Saturday, we're hosting our first ever robotics meet. We've had a robotics team here now for a little over a year. They've been traveling around. We're having our first one, and that's going to be at the middle school, high school. It wasn't going to be at the elementary. That's been switched to the middle school, high school in the gyms out here. So that'll begin at 9 o'clock. And then we also have a wrestling meet at Maquoketa that day as well. So on Monday, the 14th, we have middle school girls basketball at Marquette. And once again, that's at Marquette, and that'll begin at 4 o'clock. We also have our high school music concert that night. Tuesday night, we have JV and varsity boys basketball, along with the freshman boys game, and all that starts at 4:30 out here, and that is against Durant. So I hope to see you out there as well. Then Thursday evening we have a JV and varsity wrestling at North Cedar, and then we also have the elementary music concert at home that night, obviously, and that is at the Bellevue Middle School, High School, in the multi-purpose gym. That will begin at 6:15 with the preschool coming on at 6:15. Pay attention to the updates throughout the week. Next week, I'll be giving you some updates on times for that. Preschool's at 6:15. Roughly, the K through 2 will be at 6:45 or 7 o'clock, and then the third, fourth, and fifth grade, took me a second there, will be following that around 7:30, 7:45. Once again, we're doing that at the middle school, high school, better parking, easier accessibility for people, and everything like that too. So come out and enjoy that, whether you have kids in school or not. It's always great to see the young kids up there on the stage. On Friday evening, we have fruit pickup that way. Anyone who ordered some fruit from our athletic department, that is from 4 to 6 in the ag building out there. And then we have home basketball games that night too, JV and varsity girls and boys basketball, and that begins at 4:30, and that's against North Cedar. And then we also have a wrestling meet that night at Clayton Ridge. So those are some things going on or coming up here real soon. Some board updates, give you a quick overview there of some things going on that way. We had a comic curriculum presentation. There were some students presenting. We had McKinley Rader, Emma Kelchin, Tara Linden, Cameron Rand, Gianna Mickles present some of their speech from Mrs. Kilberg's class. They did a great job. The main topic there was child abuse from a book that they had read that way and how to handle it. We approved some students for early graduation pending they meet all requirements that way, and those were Ben Cobb, Haley Foreman, Carrie Furl, Dominic Holgrave, Donna Mangler, Autumn Palmer, Rianne Palmer, and Tyler Peters. We talked about the Affordable Care Act information that way, and the district will need to be providing single insurance to staff members, or offer that up to staff members at a rate, and the district will pay some of that rate for any staff members, associates, support staff in general, who average over 30 hours per week during the school year. So that was a point of conversation and figuring out what the cost will be to the district on that way. Roughly $80 to $100 a month per person that would qualify. Unsure of those exact rates right now until insurance settlements come in that way, but also unsure of who will take it that way, but we do need to be offering that based on legal legislation that we need to do that way. Talk about common school finance. When we were talking about money that way, we talked about right now the district is in fine shape that way, although in the future with less supplemental state aid or that allowable growth money coming in, increase in expenses and things like that, our trend is likely to go downward. We're trying to address that as it goes that way. I will keep you updated on that way, but just some information for you that way. We also talked about the 2016-2017 school calendar. It seems like that's a long ways away. We're about 9 months away from August yet, or 8 months away from August and the start of school. But we would be looking at that. The first day of school for next year would actually be on August 23rd. That's the first legal date we can start. Some things with it, with the calendar in general, that we worked with Maquoketa, Andrew, Easton Valley, and Delwood on to have a pretty similar calendar as a whole. Professional development for staff before school for 4 days, have some days during the school year, and things like that. Our spring break would be a little later this year based on how the calendar falls. We would only have off the Friday and Monday and a Tuesday. It'd be Good Friday, the Friday there, and then the Monday and Tuesday for staff for students would be off. Teachers would be coming in on that Tuesday. Same amount of early dismissals and professional development, with all early dismissals being a 3-hour early dismissal for our staff. Looking at some other things that way. But in general, a fairly similar calendar. If you have a question on that, actually I've been putting these notes online tonight, so you'll probably see those tonight or tomorrow. One or the other will get on there and be available to see there on the comment highlights. They'll be on the front page and also on my own page that way too on the website. We also talked about what's the Bellevue School philosophy, what do we stand for. We've been going over some things about our district, what we're proud of, and things like that. We believe that we're ahead of the curve. We're trying to keep the public informed. Our tech programs, our hands-on programs, we're learning beyond the textbook, looking at ed reform, educational reform programs, quality teachers and also progressive teachers. We've had very successful alumni at all levels that way, from CEOs to local business leaders to area farmers to other trades, some very, very successful graduates we believe we're putting out there. Try to put students in real life learning situations. We highly believe in student involvement. We offer a lot of college courses either on campus and online at no charge to students, and that's a benefit that a lot of districts do not offer. We have a great staff, whether they're teachers or any of our support staff. We have involved students, involved community. We are innovative in our approaches. We have a strong after-school program and a strong preschool program for both 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. So let's talk about the Iowa School Report Card. That is going to be coming out soon to the public. I do have access to that as schools, but that should be coming out mid-December, I've been told. Iowa School Report Card basically looks at schools across the state, looking at Iowa assessments and where we're at. And we scored very well. We scored at a high-performing level at the elementary and an acceptable level at the middle school, high school. We were 1 point away from the high-performing at the middle school, high school as well. So we're doing very well. Elementary is in the top 15% of the state. Our middle school, high school is in the top 60% of the state. So doing some good things there. At the same time, I do want to emphasize in the Bellevue Herald this week, I have an article in there about education reform, and that we need to look at more than standardized test scores, no matter how we're scoring on ACTs, Iowa assessments, whatever it is. We need to look at the problem-solving skills, critical thinking skills, collaborative skills, creativity, and many of the real-world life skills that students need to have to be successful. Just because I can regurgitate something from textbook onto a sheet of paper does not mean that I know or that I can apply it. The key is to apply information that way. We also talked about the Iowa Association of School Boards conference some of us went to. We shared some notes on that. We talked a little bit more about ed reform and what's going on that way. It's an evolution or a revolution. What does reform mean for education was a conversation I had with a group of teachers recently. What will the future of education look like? So think about that yourself. What will the future of education look like, or what does it look like now compared to when you were in school? Is that a positive or a negative? I do think one thing that's a positive is that we have information right now that goes well beyond anything anyone in this building and within these walls can tell somebody. We can go out and get information in a lot of different ways. So that's one thing we talked about that way. We did talk, the principals talked a little bit about a TED Talk that we're going to be hosting here in either January or March. I'll give you more information. Will be coming out on that soon, but that's a pretty prestigious thing. One of the few high schools, probably the only high school in the state of Iowa doing this, and one of the few high schools across the nation that are going to be hosting a TED Talk that will be promoted nationally. Having some people come in and talk about education and some of their passions. It'll be a very exciting time. If you haven't had a chance to ever look up what a TED Talk is, go to just Google TED Talk, and you'll find something that way. So it's a pretty exciting time for all of us here to recognize that. Kate Bacchus, that was the student who was really in charge of jumping through all the hoops to get it created. She worked with Matt Yeager, a teacher in the Bellevue Big program, and they really created something great here. We have some great people coming in. We'll give you more information in the upcoming weeks on the exact date for that, who some of our speakers will be, and we also have a limited amount of invitation. If you're interested in that, please contact me. Board also talked about the concerts coming up, like I will just review here real quick. Some concerts here. I mentioned the one coming up next week, but then the following week we have the following week. I'm gonna find the time here for you real quick. Excuse me on that. The middle school music concert will be on December 21st, and that will be at 6:30. So that's a Monday. Remember here also we have winter break from December 23rd through January 3rd, starting school back up on January 4th. I've talked for over 10 minutes. You are all tired of hearing from me right now. I'll have another update next week. We'll go from there. It's always a little longer with the board notes that way. I'm trying to keep these under 5 minutes from now on, but we'll go from there. And everyone have a great day. Enjoy the weather outside. Hopefully snow stays away for a while. Yeah, the roads are good, and no early dismissals or no school days before our winter break. That's the goal right now. Have a great one, everybody.